recording.
That said, I'd like to point out that this is at the same time that the national calling campaign is going on. That Sabrina Butcher and I'm not sure who else is they're doing phone banking and text banking. They have been, and this is exactly this time, 8 to 10 p.m. EST. They are currently phone banking, probably into Arizona at this point.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should get started. Laurel, I'm going to let you run the show.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome, Paul.
Great to be here. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Oh, good. I was just coming back from my yoga class, and I have 3 things, and I said, this is the one I want to come to.
Oh,
Nice.
I appreciate it. It's great to see you. It's great to see you. And thank you, Dennis and Matt Tucker, the co-lead of the action team. I'm Laurel Eastman, and I'm on the steering committee. I am voting from Montana, working in the Dominican Republic, living mostly in Mexico, and today calling from Sonoma County, California. Maybe we'll just do a quick introduction, and let's go over to Matt.
Hi, everyone. I'm normally in Truckee. Right now, I'm in Washington State, but I am the co-lead of the outdoor industry action team, as well as co-lead of our local chapter in Truckee. And I've been with CCL for over 3 years now, and it's just a great organization. How about Dennis?
Well, I'm just coming here to see what this is all about. I hike and volunteer with a number of local park maintenance organizations doing things like trail maintenance, invasive removal, and what's the word? Cleanup. So just like picking up trash, honestly. But in the past, I also have worked with the university outdoor action organization, and I was actually thinking about maybe talking to friends I have in that organization to see if I could maybe get them on board.
Nice, excellent. All right, Amy.
Oh, wait, did we already hear? We already heard from Paul, but not really quite. Let's have him just do it, and then I'm gonna let Amy do a long.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. That's right. We should finish with Amy because she's going to do
exactly. She's going to be our special guest today. So
good work. Okay.
Paul.
Good. I'll do my official introduction. Hi, Amy and Dennis. Great to see you. I know Laura and Matt. I'm Paul Thompson. I've been with CCL for 12 years. Was a regional coordinator with Bill for a long time. And now I'm a freelance climate guy, working mostly with the American Birkebeiner, and they have some exciting things going on. They've hired a new guy, and we're working on measuring carbon footprint and becoming carbon neutral by 2026, which is really exciting. So they're asking every skier, this is 13,000 skiers, to join in and offset their transportation and their other parts of their life in preparation. So Berkey Green is moving ahead, and it's great to start things and then watch them grow. So I feel like I can just be a supportive person. We're also working with the Twin Cities Lopit Foundation, which is the Minneapolis-St. Paul group that is awesome at getting kids and doing inclusion with outdoor activities, because that's my work with Cool Planet. Is to get people outside and to notice what's going on and then engage as active citizens.
Oh, that sounds so exciting. Oh my goodness, thank you.
And I'm guessing those are Birkebeiner bibs behind you.
I have a few.
Nice.
I'll be doing my 41st Berkey very slowly. This year they're doing open track, not timed, and just finish the race and do it at your own speed, carry your own food. So it'll be more like a backcountry on a really cool trail.
Nice.
Okay. And just in case, Dennis, you don't know, it is a cross-country ski event, the most famous cross-country skiing event that Paul has participated in for, coming up to 40 plus years. So that's very cool. Well, speaking of skiing, it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce Amy Trad, who is the sustainability expert for Big Sky Resort in Southwest Montana. And she is our guest speaker today. We're going to do just a couple of questions. First, Amy, you're going to introduce yourself. I've got a couple of prepared questions. Then we're going to open up for discussion about the outdoor industry group and what's going on the industry side. So Amy, take it away.
Yes, I'm so grateful to be here and thank you for the invite. I'm fairly new to CCL, but got connected with the recent conference and I'm really excited to be here talking to the outdoor industry team. I have a background in sustainability science. So I have my bachelor's from Furman University in sustainability science. I moved to Montana in 2018 for AmeriCorps Vista. I served with the city of Billings on a community project for the opioid and meth response initiative. Then I left, I went to Washington, D.C., where I studied sustainability management from the Kogod School of Business at American University, and then came back to Montana. I was working as a prevention specialist for Yellowstone County for the past year up until July of this year. And that's when I started my role at Big Sky Resort as a sustainability specialist. So this is exactly what I studied. I'm very excited to be here. Big Sky has some big plans. So it's really cool to be here at this time. So to kind of give you an overview of what we're doing, we are going to be net zero carbon emissions by 2030. And that's our forever project. So that's actually across all Boyne resorts. We have this ambitious goal. And so I'm basically here to help make that happen.
Nice. That's awesome. So what is there more to the Forever initiative?
Yes.
Okay.
So we, in 2019, signed on to the National Ski Area Association's Climate Challenge. And so part of that challenge is publicly reporting our greenhouse gas emissions each year, taking part in climate action to reduce those emissions, and then taking part in climate advocacy to advocate for better climate solutions. So we're also working towards sustainable slopes badges, which are also an NSAA initiative. And those are in waste and recycling, supply chain, forest health and habitat, energy conservation, water management, transportation, education and outreach, design and construction. I think that's all of them. There's 8 of them, 8 sustainable slopes badges that we can earn. And so this year we're primarily focusing on energy management, waste and recycling, and education and outreach. So we've done a lot in those areas. This year, with the announcement of the Forever Project, we purchased renewable energy credits for 100% renewable electricity across all Boyne resorts. That's an extension of something we've done at Big Sky. In 2020, we purchased RECs to offset our lift energy use. And so that's kind of a bigger expansion of that to commit to this net zero by 2030 goal. And so in addition to that, we're doing a lot of energy efficiency upgrades. We have done a few LED retrofits of our buildings. Our new building renovations are all undergoing energy efficiency upgrades for windows, for HVAC systems, for things in the boiler room to be electric powered, and then also installing things like VFDs or variable frequency drives to improve the energy use of motors and things like that. Done a lot in waste and recycling. So in 2020, we piloted a compost program in our Vista Hall. And then this year we're expanding it to 4 other dining locations. So we're mostly doing back of house composting right now, just until we can get it exactly right. And then we'll kind of scale up to include consumer facing later on.
What's that mean, backpack composting?
Back of house, so basically all of our kitchens, it's our composting food waste and any, we're trying to test out compostable gloves, compostable cleaning products, things like that. And then we're just doing it in the back of the kitchen. And then later on, once we have sourcing down and, we're sourcing only compostable products, we'll extend it out to guest facing. So if you were to purchase something to go, your container would be compostable and you could compost it. Right now, again, it's just the back of the house, just until we get that sourcing perfected. We've done a lot with education and outreach. So we have a Forever Project internal team. Pretty cool. We have representatives from all the different departments on that team to help make decisions across the resort. We have a unique kind of industry where we operate as lodging, hotels, as like outdoor recreation for skiing. We have teachers, instructors for mountain sports. We also have all of our operations. So it's really cool to have that group together to, discuss possible changes and sustainable solutions to things that we're working on. We also are about to launch a sustainable training series for employees. So that way we can get more engagement with our team members to be educated on sustainability and some of the things that we're working on. We also are doing more signage. So this year, our new Swift Current chairlift was just upgraded to be a really fast and high efficiency chairlift with heated seats and windproof bubbles. And with that, all the messaging on the back of the chairs is going to be sustainability based and focused. We've partnered with local photographers to demonstrate some of their photography of local wildlife and then educate guests about like the importance of this ecosystem that we're a part of. And we partner with a lot of other local groups like the Gallatin River Task Force for water stream restoration projects. There's a group in town called Big Sky Snow Sustainability Network organization that we're working with to develop a climate action plan. Pathwater is a group that we partner with to have refillable, reusable plastic water bottles. Not plastic, sorry, aluminum water bottles instead of plastic water bottles because we recycle aluminum better than we do plastic. And then we partner with Trade Water, which is a national group that does carbon offsets. They take refrigerant gases and destroy them. And so we're offering that to all of our guests as well, so they could offset their trip. We're doing a lot in supply chain. Like I said, we're trying to harness in what we're ordering and make that process run more smoothly. Water management, we've upgraded all of our fixtures to be low flow, and we're constantly monitoring our water use, trying to improve that. And then the big one, climate advocacy, which is why I'm excited to be here. We're constantly advocating for green energy supply, and we recently had our president and COO write a letter in support of the carbon pricing during reconciliation to our Senator Tester. And so more ways that we can be involved with that. That's why I'm here. I think that there's a lot of people out there in my industry who are required to do this if they've signed up for the climate challenge and don't know what to do, or they want to do it, they know what to do, and they're looking for opportunities. And so I'm really excited here to be here and bring that information to my peers at our other Boyne resorts and anyone else I can across the ski industry.
That's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to criticize. I mean, I wouldn't criticize, but just one couple questions. So,
yeah.
One thing that we've noticed is that, endorsers of all stripes, all levels of business, from small businesses all the way up to large businesses, a lot of them, we're very thankful to every single one of them for endorsing the Energy Innovation Act. But one thing that we've noticed is that they're not always necessarily so anxious to advertise more broadly that they've endorsed, right? Yeah. Because they're concerned about, it being off-putting to some of their clients, right? So, and obviously to some extent, I mean, there's really nothing better than bringing it up to Senator Tester, right? I mean, that's huge. But there's some value in educating your customers about the fact that it's important to advocate for the climate. Now, some customers may find that off-putting, and so that's probably why a lot of resorts don't do much in this way. But I guess I would delicately suggest that one way to really improve the resort's efficacy in terms of their outreach to their customers is to say something along the lines of, everybody needs to do what they can to reduce their carbon footprint, but the most important thing that you can do is advocate for policies that actually change things at on a bigger level, right? So, and and I don't know, I would presume to say how you would do that, but just and the other thing, like along those lines, is because your resort has a big bullhorn to the public, right? Your website, your social media, anything that you say or do on those channels is big, right? You have a lot of visibility for the ski industry, for folks that your customers. So anything that you're willing to put on your blog or up on your website, up maybe you have a sustainability page where you list all of the things that you do, any of those things are awesome. And we've had amazing athletes too that we encourage to spread the word amongst their followers. And it's not easy. A lot of them are not anxious to do that because they either are already advocating for something and they don't want to muddy the message by bringing up, the Energy Innovation Act, or they just don't feel comfortable being political on their, their social media channels. So I understand that. And yet at the same time, right, it's like nothing's for free, everything, all of the advocacy that we do, it doesn't come without costs, right? So anyway, just thought, and certainly I can understand the reticence on the part of businesses, small and large, to stick their necks out, right? But I will say that, like, in the ski industry, it seems to be pretty much the consensus now that, like, advocacy is a huge part of what makes a difference, right? It's not just your carbon footprint, it's also making sure that your elected officials know what you want from them and that you want action on climate. So but kudos. Don't let anything I just said take anything away from what Big Sky is doing. It's amazing. So congratulations.
And I think it's a great point. I think that it is a touchy subject. I mean, with branding, right? Every social media outlet has like their voice and their message, and like who says what versus like how political we get is definitely not up to me. That's our PR and social media people here. That being said, I think a big part of it comes with that education of our team members. The more that we do here, then it's easier to then ask other people to join us. That's kind of like where our Tradewater partnership comes in. It's carbon offsets for guests. We ask people to come alongside us, and you just purchase this ticket. Consider offsetting your plane ride, or consider offsetting your plane ride and your hotel stay. Not forcing on anyone. We don't, like, it's not for us, it's for the climate. But I think it is a tricky line to walk. The biggest pushback we get on social media, we do occasionally post about sustainability and some of our initiatives, is that, oh, what are you doing? Like, you're asking us to do something, what are you doing? And so I think, like, that's a big part of my role, is how can we uplift what we're doing and then ask people to help us, and not, don't do it for us. We're doing our part. We want to see everybody do their part. But yeah, it's a tricky world out there. There's times when I will approach our marketing team. We have a very supportive marketing team, actually. They are always like, we need more blog posts, Amy. Like, come up with an idea for a blog post, come up with an idea for social media. They're the ones who actually thought of the Swifty chairback lifts having forever project messaging. They just decided it, did it, and they're like, Amy, this is what we're doing. And I'm just there giving a thumbs up. But it's kind of a give and take. I can, ramp them up and say, okay, this is perfect, let's do more of that. But it is tricky to get that, like, ask for climate policy or climate advocacy publicly, again, just with our image and our brand and things like that.
You're doing so much, and there's so many different things that you're touching in on. I mean, when you rattled off that list, every person is on a continuum. And to me, it always comes down to one-on-one. You work with the people that come to you with their concerns. You find out where they are, and you ask them to move from A to B to C. So with Cool Planet skiers, we say conversations for climate action, saving winter for future generations. So big promise, and something everyone can do, and then big promise. So do you want to play in the big prod? You need to find your individual action. And yeah, maybe it's like for cross-country skiers, now we're trying to collect the floral waxes that, have a lot of, chemicals in it that are heat trapping. So people are beginning to, one of our people that said, I don't need those things. I don't need to go fast. I'd rather go safe. And they're going to start collecting, the harmful waxes. And I'd never heard of that before. And I thought, good project. Eventually, people will get to advocacy because we have to. And as winter breaks down and as the things continue to happen, it will be a natural progression. With CCL, we're just trying to move that now because we need to get there now. But I never try to push people to go faster than what they're willing to do. And I think having sustainability coordinators in businesses, we just hired a person for Edina, our 50,000, and she's working with me now on golf courses and getting our 3 golf courses to look at water, habitat. Toro's coming out with electric lawnmowers now, and I'll bet you there are piston bullies now that are hybrid or electric. And those are going to be game changers. So it's like industry moves these things along, and you're in a good place. I mean, Big Sky is a big place.
Yeah, it is.
Have you seen the movie Saving Snow that has Auden Schindler from, he's the sustainability coordinator at Aspen, or where, Matt, you know where he is.
Yeah, I think he actually left Aspen and is now at POW.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of you. I'd love to connect you with Joe Vaderkum. I can't even say his last name, but he's turning the Berkey around. It's very cool.
Yeah, there is a lot of my position now in this world, in the ski industry. The climate challenge is like a list of 50 resorts, and like some of our resorts don't necessarily have this position yet, but they're hiring. Like one of our resorts just hired a position. So, it's kind of going from that blended, like, oh, somebody who's in marketing and sustainability to like full on sustainability person. So it's the trend we're seeing for sure.
And is Tradewater, are they you're doing all your carbon offsets through them?
At this moment, we have purchased carbon offsets. We're partnered with them for carbon offsets, but there's other organizations I wouldn't discount for carbon offsets. We're not really pursuing any more carbon offsets right now. That program is specific for our guests to purchase. We're only going to look at offsets once we reduce and do the renewables. So kind of closer to that 2030 mark, we'll start to consider other offset companies as well.
I know there are many. It's a big deal. And of course, a lot of people think carbon offsets is just a cover up to not getting to the real action. The Berkey is working with a group called Climeco.
Okay.
And they're working with in South Dakota, a wind farm. But I think all of it is good, but you just can't stop with paying a little.
Or, yeah. It's not either or, it's both. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I just put something in the chat for you, Amy. It's in case you hadn't heard about them, there's electric snowmobiles, which could be cool for Big Sky to purchase.
Yeah, we're on the list, I think, to get to demo. So Taiga, I didn't look at your thing yet, but yeah, Taiga is like doing their rounds to let resorts demo
nice.
snowmobiles. Piston Bully does have like a hybrid model that we're looking at. That's like kind of the big push right now, is the electrification of vehicles for us to use up here.
Nice.
So we're kind of waiting for the test runs and the industry to kind of convert over. We do have like Tesla chargers in place right now. We're looking at installing new level 2 chargers, electrifying our fleet and things like that, but all in due time when the technology can really perform at the level we need it to.
Excellent. Very cool, Amy. That's good stuff. Yeah, I heard an interesting thing. I was meeting with the Ski Industry Association that I won't name, but I was meeting with them to potentially lobby a congressman. And the interesting thing about that conversation was it went something like, yeah, we don't really want to push too hard on climate because we have a lot of other business with the congressman on things like forest management and access to forest and, things that we really need him to come through for us on. And I was like, wow, that's short-sighted, but oh, I see a timeout. What's up, Paul?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying,
the cart
before the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'd say it's more like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, you know. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So you end up with things like that where it's like, you know, supposedly like rational, you know, conversation, but you're like, well, I don't see it. But anyway, great. Well, Laurel, do we have anything else on the agenda?
Yes, I have another question for Amy. We've already skipped right ahead to the Q&A, which is amazing. And then I don't know, do we have any other questions in? Well, I had a question in the chat, but I'll come back to it. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to just do it now since we were talking about like this potential pushback from businesses. And you had sort of mentioned that the marketing and sales team right there at Big Sky are asking for content. But, you know, like, when you talk about policy advocating specifically, what are you hearing? Anything? Are they like, wait, what? No, or
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for policy is the turnaround time, right? Because tends to be a quicker, like, we need it now, we need this letter now. It's more difficult to get through. Like, I think that if it's something that we can sit on and really consider and really do our own research, that's the biggest thing. I think that is like, not only do I have to endorse it or support it, but you know, my boss has to support it, and the president and CEO has to support it, and then the marketing team has to consider how it's going to look for our brand and our image. So like for as far as like policy goes, it is tricky for that turnaround time. If it is a quick thing that we need people to be engaged in, it's more difficult to get it posted, I think, in that time frame. With that being said, something like the carbon pricing, where there's so much like literature and content that you guys have developed, it was really easy for me to like write that letter, because I was like, look, Senator Tester hasn't agreed to this. This is why it's important. They're about to vote on it. Here's the letter. And then it passed right through, because we had already endorsed it through your team as a corporation. We had all this content to go off of, and in a day and a half, I was able to write it, get it through the ranks, and publish it basically. But I think that that's like the big thing is that sustainability specialists in my positions, we are how we're juggling so many different projects. You have to like give them all of the information, all of the content, so they don't have to go find it themselves, I think is a big help. Another thing is like what I love with CCL is that there's always a big ask for individual participation. I always push that if it's something that I'm going to do, if I'm going to call my senator, I push it out to my Forever Project team, who internally has already said they're interested in sustainability. So I know it's not those people who are going to give me pushback, it's people who want to do more. So I always pass that message along, and I do it internally. So like, even if it's just 30 more people doing it from Big Sky, you know, it's 30 more people. I sometimes wish I could pass it on to the thousands of people that follow us on Instagram, but again, that's not really up to me. That's up to marketing. And I think that they don't know, they don't have the background. They want to be able to do their full research before they publish something and get a bunch of feedback from it. But that being said, I think from the sustainability posts we have made, like we've made a post recently about our partnership with Tradewater, you only get a few negative comments, and then the most of it is general support. So I think we'll start to see more content in the future on our social media side of things.
Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. Well, that's really encouraging. Yeah, I'm envisioning a cool blog post that kind of mentions what Matt was saying about in the beginning of, you know, the feedback and the Q&A, which was like, okay, it's great to do sustainable, you know, tweaks in your life and be on the continuum, like what Paul said. The big thing is to really advocate for the systemic change. So
yeah, and I think our partnership with our local town will really help us get there faster. Big Sky Snow is developing a climate action plan. A big part of that is greening the energy supply. So I think that that's going to be an easy transition for us. Once that climate action plan kind of goes in place, we're helping write it, and then we're also going to help support it. So I think things are coming.
Are you working with local high schools and colleges and young people, and like can they give them, you know, free lift tickets if they'll do something to show that they're green, or just a way of getting more of the young voice out in front?
So we haven't done anything yet since I've been here. I just started in July, but there's one high school here, and Big Sky Snow has reached out to them to see what organizations, environmental clubs, or interested students there are. So I think that local group will kind of bridge the gap, and then if there are ways that we can help promote those efforts, I think we will. So nothing to date yet. We haven't done any of those things, but actually a local high schooler interviewed me for the local paper, which is pretty cool to hear like a young person interested in what we were doing. So
Where is Big Sky? What's your town? What's
Big Sky,
nearby?
Montana.
Big Sky.
Yeah, but we are close to Bozeman, so Big Sky is our town, but we're about an hour from Bozeman, Montana, which is better known.
Well, that's great. And I do love that idea of getting the young people engaged, especially, working with the Big Sky Snow to develop the climate action plan. And yeah, it's very cool. Okay, well, let's ask about my other question that I had for Amy tonight was really like to get her perspective as someone working in a large business, a corporation, part of a big corporate structure, and getting approached by climate advocates like CCL volunteers. What makes it easy? Are there things that make it hard or annoying, or just getting your perspective as someone who's asked? And in the meeting we did beforehand, Amy did say like, "Hey, I'm a sustainability expert. Like, if you come to me with something awesome to do, like that helps me do my job." So, but I don't know if you wanted to maybe share a little bit more generally, or
Yeah.
Great.
So I think that a big thing is this role, right? I think it is a new role. Sustainability is a growing field. If you can find this person and you give them an opportunity, here's an opportunity for you to make a difference, and you list like their specific person they're supposed to reach out to, or if you need like if you have a hard ask, like we want a quote, we want a letter, we want a call, whatever it might be. If you had a specific ask and you go to the right person, that's an easy check mark for me. Like I'm gonna do it. I think a big thing with finding me, right? I'm not listed on our website. So if you go through our info email or our PR specialist, ask for that person. Typically, the people who are going through our Big Sky info email are like our sales team. They're not going to send it to me unless they know to send it to me. So for instance, like I think we had a few requests from electric vehicle companies or charging station companies to install chargers. The only one I got was the one that asked, "Do you have a sustainability person?" That's the email I got. The other ones that about electric vehicle charging stations went to maintenance or went to lift offs or went to other people who resemble something about vehicles. Big Sky info email, they're looking through it, they're like, "Oh, vehicles, that goes to vehicle maintenance." When somebody asks for me specifically, it goes straight to my email, and then I can be like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity. Let me find out what their prices are. Let me find out how much it's going to cost to install," and I pick it up right away. Another big thing, so sustainability is like the term that I use, that we use here, but other resorts or other businesses might use corporate social responsibility, ESG, stewardship, environmental, like all of those titles, I think relate back to what we're doing, but they might not necessarily be called sustainability. So if you could do a little research and figure out who that person is, that's a big difference. Also, if you connect it to what I'm doing. So if you're like, "Hey, I noticed that you're signed on to the climate challenge." It's all public information who's on NSAA's climate challenge. If you say, "Hey, I saw that you're signed on to this. I saw that advocacy is one of your requirements. Here's an opportunity for you to write a letter to your senator." You just spelled it out for me exactly how you're helping me accomplish my goal. And that goes for anyone who signed on to that challenge. So if you look at any sort of associations or outdoor industry or local industry associations, and then you find out what they're asking their people to do and just put the pieces in front of them together. Like if somebody asked me to do something to support the climate challenge, I'm likely going to do it, and then I'm also going to pass it on to all the other Boyne resorts who have to do the same number of advocacy opportunities. in order to get their badges, in order to get them accomplishing their goals. And then the biggest thing, again, going back to what I said about the letter, is content. If you can provide me with the research, the links, the info, this sentence, include this topic, that makes it super easy too, because then of course I'm going to do more research, but at least you've made the first step really easy. I think that if you ask for a specific thing and then you're like, we want to quote something like this, and then you give a different example of what someone else has said, obviously then PR people can also see that what they're looking for. So typically that's kind of how things go. Again, the PR process kind of takes time. So if you can loop in that person too right away, if you know them, loop the sustainability person and the PR person together. Typically what happens with like a journalist or like a newspaper, anyone trying to get info from us, if they go through our PR specialist, she sends it right to me. So it's really easy if you just like go ahead and loop everyone into the info all at once. And again, yeah, content and showing me how it relates to what I'm trying to do. I don't think anything's really annoying, to answer the other part of that question. As long as you're like pretty direct and like, this is what we're asking for, and this is how you can help. I think I personally don't say anything to be annoying. I think it would be more annoying to have to read through like a 5-page email about yourself and why you care, and like, I just want to know what you need. So I think that's just very direct. It would be the easiest way to get to me.
Wow, that was great.
Is the climate challenge, is that just downhill skiing? I don't know.
I believe so.
Can you give me a link for that? And also to reach you, I need your email.
Yeah, I'll put the climate challenge in the chat if I find the website. And then, yes, you're more than welcome to contact me as well.
Thank
I
you.
believe it's a National Ski Areas Association thing, right?
Yes, it's the National Ski Area Association. So if they're
Yeah.
part of the Ski Area Association, I think it's
Yeah, I think
open.
anybody, exactly. I think anybody that's part, and you don't have to be a ski resort to be a part. You can be just about anybody. You can, manufacturers of ski hill equipment are part of that. So
yeah, and I think like, for instance, Boyne Resorts, we do have one Nordic ski area that is part of it as well.
Okay, well, that was awesome. And I'm very inspired to look at that list of all the people who have signed on to this, because it seems like we could, definitely, take what we've learned from getting connected to you and then working with you to get the letter out to Senator Tester so quickly and get them, especially if they're in those important states, even more so timely.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. If you say like that email I got from CCL's Bozeman chapter, like, Senator Tester hasn't agreed. I'm like, wow, we can change this, or try to at least. So if you do directly like Utah, we need this person to sign this now, that's gonna be way easier, because that seems, more like, once you do more of your research, it's easy for us to do ours.
nice. Yeah, I guess one question for you, Amy, is do you know if, given that that Boyne endorsed the Energy Innovation Act, whether all of Boyne's constituent resorts have endorsed, or is that up to each individual resort?
I asked our corporate communications person, and it was on behalf of all of us.
Oh, nice.
So it is across all Boyne resorts that we've agreed.
Oh, cool.
With that.
Well, we can. I'm going to then go and add all the Boyne resorts to our endorsement page. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
That's awesome. And shout out to the team member who hooked that up. Bill Barron reminded me or told me about the gentleman who had worked with Boyne to get that done. Maybe you know him, Matt.
I don't. He told me his name, but it didn't. I didn't register because I didn't know.
Yeah, but serious respect. I mean, that's amazing. So that's huge.
Yeah, and I think from like across Boyne, it's a Forever Project is a big goal of ours. You're gonna have different levels of involvement. Like, our president and CEO is extremely advocating for climate is his thing. So he's gonna jump onto those opportunities, I think, a lot faster maybe than other resorts. That being said, every resort has this goal. Every resort is advocating in some way. So they might just be how much they want to do, how much they want to go the extra mile. It's just going to vary on the person that's there.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, well, we have about 10 minutes left, and I did want to just bring up the action that we really would hope our team could deploy over the next month, which is getting the folks who have endorsed the businesses and the athletes to call their Democratic senators. And so just like we got Amy to write the letter to Senator Tester, what the big ask right now is for the businesses to call the senator's office, identify themselves as, this person at this position of this company, and to say they support putting a price on carbon in the reconciliation bill. And so the more we can get our endorsers to do that, now, I don't know if anyone wants to give a status update. I have not been able to. I've only gotten one of my endorsers so far to do it, so I'm behind on this task. Has anyone else done any outreach to endorsers, or can you think of an endorser that you might be able to ask?
I can just tell you that I've sent out at least two. I want to say two communications to all of our endorsers in the Truckee area. And I've only received back confirmation from two, I believe, that they had actually followed through. So I think it's just, it's actually a good reminder to do it again, right? Because I think it's, everybody's inboxes are full, right? So the first thing, this is what I do, first thing in the morning, delete, okay, now I can move on, right? So you just catch somebody on the right day and they're like, oh, maybe I'll open that one. So it's never a bad idea to retry to contact. I know, for instance, when I was rounding up endorsements, that one outreach attempt is not enough, right? You have to just keep at it. So you call, they don't pick up the phone, you email, they don't respond, call again, email again. I mean, within reason, right? You don't want to stalk them, but it's at least 3 attempts, I think, is probably the right number.
So is the CCL statement about 49 Democratic senators on board accurate? And shouldn't everything just be going to Manchin? And that's the only thing that we're working on now? I don't understand why I should contact Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith when they're completely on board.
Well, I think the idea is that we're giving these other senators ammunition to put pressure on Manchin, because there's probably I think there are other things that Manchin does want.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, maybe that should be the message, Phil. Please, give cookies to Joe Manchin's staff. I mean, they're on vacation this week. Manchin is not even, his staff is not even there. That's what I've heard. So, it seems like not beating a dead horse, and I know it's our best chance and it's our only chance, but what's the new thing that we can do that can actually have a breakthrough? Because I think doing the old thing is not going to get us anyplace new. Paul,
I was just going to say one thing is that the assumption that just because these senators have said that they're gonna vote for it doesn't mean that keeping up the pressure on them doesn't have any value, because they're constantly hearing from other constituencies, right? And mostly they're hearing from constituencies that have skin in the game, right? Legacy, the incumbents, right? Who stand to lose with a carbon price. So, just keeping it out there and I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, I think there's something to be said for what you're saying, but I also think that there's some value in just keeping up the drumbeat, the steady drumbeat. Don't forget, we're still out here and we still want a price on carbon, because they're hearing from the oil companies and the coal companies and the public utilities and on a daily basis, right? So I think that's part of it.
New voices. I get that new voices are the most important thing, and certainly businesses that have a clout. I don't know what. Yeah. I mean, industry businesses are important, especially industries that rely on fossil fuels, and they're still willing to take action. And the ski industry is one of those.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I really definitely also appreciate your feedback, Paul. And it is sometimes thinking like, okay, we're just saying the same thing over and over again. But I do agree. And I wish Bill was here. He sends his regrets. He's on vacation in a slot canyon in southern Utah right now. So he has no internet access. And if he were here, he would be able to tell us all the policy insider you know, things that he knows from CCL work. But in the meantime, you know, if anyone here does have a little bit of bandwidth for the next month, you know, even maybe even sooner, maybe even this week, you know, even if the staffers are on vacation, the voicemail is still turned on, and it could be a nice time to, you know, reach people when they're not totally busy. I don't know if we have to not harass people over holidays, but you know, it's just Thanksgiving. It's not like it's Christmas. So maybe we can send some emails and phone calls this week.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
momentum is important. Momentum, and you know, we don't know how long this process is going to go on, but usually it goes on longer than we think. So I think keeping up the energy and using this break as a way of, I mean, Thanksgiving table, there's going to be new people that aren't doing anything. You know, Paul Hawkins says 98% of people are disengaged. So I always remember that, you know, that I'm with a unique group here, but everybody else is like, oh, I wish things were better. So thank you. I'll stay with it.
Well, that's great. Any other last comments, Dennis or Paul? We barely heard from Paul. Pocatello Paul didn't even get to introduce himself, although he did send a kind email saying he was coming late. So it's nice to have you with us, Paul.
I'll go see Amy in 2 weeks. I'm a Montana pass holder, so I'll come say hi to you, Amy.
Definitely.
Cool.
Tell me when you're here.
Dennis, are you a skier?
Not really. New Jersey is not the
Ski capital of the East.
But you're an outdoors enthusiast, so you are welcome here anytime. Hikers are welcome.
And in fact, I tried to get my mom, speaking of hikers, to come to the meeting. She does do a little dabbling in CCL volunteer work. She does gleaning from our local Montana newspaper so that we can write letters to the editor. And so I invited her to tonight. She has a local hiking group, women that are, you know, pretty active and fun ladies up there. And I said, Mom, you should come to the meeting. And she said, okay, maybe next time. So in 3 months, we might do a hiking based meeting to really try to bring in more of like, yeah, that the hiking and even backpacking can be really a great thing, because, you know, winter is awesome, but also getting out there on the trails is great. So thank you all so much. Any last comments, questions before we wrap tonight? Thank you so much to Amy for joining us, to Matt for hosting. Thank you, Paul and other Paul, Dennis. It's so nice to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for having me.
Yeah, Amy, I'll be in touch.
Definitely.
Thank you. Really great. Good work.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Laurel. Thanks, Matt. Bye-bye.
Bye.